And a very good morning to you, Grenada, and the rest of the world. I'm George Grant, welcoming you to today's edition of Gudday Grenada. Today happens to be the 14th day of February. So, why is it a special day? Well, just let me say Happy Valentine's, and then I think you get the message. Happy Valentine's to not just you lovers out there, but to everybody. And thank you so much for joining us for today's edition. I am kind of honored that Mr. Bierzynski is scheduled for today. I say scheduled because I have not spoken with him this morning, but I do assume that he will be with us. So we're just going to hang in there and see if when we send that Zoom message out to him, he's there to chat with us on this Valentine's Day. We'll have to find out how he is going to be celebrating Valentine's Day this morning, and that should be interesting. You never ever know with Allan. But I'll tell you what we're going to do this morning. We're going to turn things around a little bit. We're going to start, actually, with the national report, and then we'll go into Allan. And then we have another piece from our good buddy out there in the Big Apple, Mr. Anthony DeRiggs. Yeah, Anthony has learned a lot in this life on Earth, and he's going to share some of those things with us this morning. Okay? So, without much ado, let us. Before I fire up the national report, let's see who's there. So far this morning, TF. Oh man, you're early. TF is saying, "Good morning, teacher. Good morning, class." Well, good morning to you, student. Thank you so much for joining us. Peter Bishop is back in Long Island. Yeah, looks like he's going to be anchored there, for a couple of days anyway. And Lincoln says, "Happy Valentine's Day to all the beautiful people of Grenada. Show some love all the time. Gigi, hope you had a fun-filled night. Hope you had a fun-filled night last night. You have an open invitation anytime. Welcome to the family. One love." Let me tell you what he's talking about. Yesterday morning we had his sister, Sharon Roberts, here with us. And she was telling us about a card game that they play. She and a group of friends, they play every week. It's usually on a Wednesday night. And during the program yesterday, she invited me to come out there. And let me tell you, I have known Sharon now for years, but I have never, ever been to her home. And yesterday morning, during the program, I think I mentioned that I was a little bit hungry. Well, Sharon took me up to her home once we got through with the program yesterday morning. Sharon prepared a breakfast for me like I have never had before. Many of you probably know that George loves lobster. But I have never had lobster for breakfast until yesterday. And then she said to me, why not join us tonight to play this game, I think, Kaluki, I think it's called. Geez, forgive me if I'm mispronouncing it here, but I think it's called Kaluki. And last night, they picked me up and took me up to another of her brothers, Vincent. And I didn't play the game because I'd never played it before. It looks like a very complex process to me, but they're telling me it's not. Well, it's easy for them to say. And let me tell you, we had a wonderful time. Wonderful time. Let me tell you, the Roberts family, they have established a reputation for good cooking because they had more good food up there. And obviously, Georgie was in his element. And I'm assuming I haven't seen her yet this morning on Facebook, but Margaret, if you're listening, girl, eat your heart out. But when you get back here, you're going to have to check with the Roberts family. You know how you like to eat? Yeah? You'll be in seventh heaven, girl. So just let me say thank you so much to Sharon and her brothers for being so hospitable. It was really, really wonderful evening. Also on Facebook right now is Glenna Knight. She's saying good morning. Oh, there's Sharon. Sharon says, good morning, Gigi. As Lincoln said, welcome to the family. Yeah, you guys have adopted a new kid. Georgie Porgy is the new kid on the block. Thank you so much. I mean, you guys are just out of this world. Vincent and his wife were perfect hosts last night. Anthea, oh gosh, I'm looking forward to coming back. And you know what? I'm going to brush up on my cooking so one of these days I can invite you guys down here for some coquille or Saint Jacques. Huh? Yeah, we'll work on that. Ashton Fletcher is saying, good morning, George. Happy Valentine's Day to you and yours from Louisville, Kentucky. Well, Ashton, thank you very much. I don't have a yours. I don't have yours. Never been married. Don't even have a girlfriend. But thank you very much. T.F. Richards says, breakfast fit for a king. Boy, T.F., fit for God. This thing was more than fit for a king. Really great stuff. Pilgrims, on that note, it's 7 minutes after the hour. Let's get into today's edition of the National Report.
High-level IMF team commends Grenada for prudent fiscal management. We'll have details to this story and more in the National Report. Welcome back with the details to the news for today, Wednesday, February 13th. I am Rikisha St. Louis. The government of Grenada has received the high commendation for prudent fiscal management from Deputy Managing Director of the International Monetary Fund, Mr. Tao Jung, who is currently visiting the country. At a luncheon hosted by the government, Mr. Jung said Grenada has recorded significant breakthroughs in its economic challenges. Grenada's authorities have done remarkable things in bringing down debt and leaving better public finances for future generations. He says these important gains are a national asset and a product of the hard work of all Grenadians. They deserve to be protected. The IMF official noted that the policy of fiscal discipline instituted by the current administration, supported by the Fiscal Responsibility Law, helped to break a pattern of high debt and low growth.
After the deep economic crisis 5 years ago, your government decided on a policies of fiscal discipline, and supported by the Fiscal Responsibility Law, which is, I think, is passed by the Parliament. All of these have helped break the pattern of high debt and low growth, and this fiscal adjustment helped cut the deficit by almost 10% of GDP. That's a tremendous progress. And in terms of public debt, the country's public debt has been cut or reduced from 108% of GDP in 2013 by more than 40% point by now in just 5 years short period. And despite fears that such a large fiscal adjustment would hurt the economic output, growth in Grenada has actually averaged 5.5% annually. during the same period. And this obviously compares favorable with other countries in the ECCU regions and the Caribbean as a whole. And crucially, the government's strong effort received broad backing from domestic shareholders and through the negotiated social compact. In that, I should congratulate Prime Minister Michel and also the parliament members joined together to achieve that.
Notwithstanding these positive developments, Mr. Jung said there is need to focus on building resilience and added that the focus on post-disaster recovery should be supplemented with better all-round preparedness. Prime Minister Dr. the Right Honorable Keith Mitchell also underscored the importance of building resilience.
As a small island developing state vulnerable to the effects of climate change, it is important for us to accelerate climate-smart development policies and programs by increasing our investment in climate-resilient infrastructure. In fact, Grenada, as you would have heard, is making strides to have St. George's become the first climate-resilient city in the region. We are proven to be pioneers in many respects and a model for others to follow. With the lessons learned from the devastating impact of Hurricane Ivan in 2004, Grenada has become a regional frontrunner in building resilience to climate change and natural disasters. Our efforts to successfully incorporate disaster relief provisions, including hurricane clauses, into some of our loan instruments are well documented and serve as a model to be emulated by others.
Prior to Wednesday's luncheon, the IMF's Deputy Director and his delegation had a meeting with the Prime Minister and Minister for Finance, along with the Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Finance, Mrs. Ophelia Wells-Cornwall, and other representatives from that ministry. The IMF team also met with the Minister responsible for climate resilience, Senator Simon Steele. They also had separate discussions with representatives of the Bankers Association. When it comes to climate change and weather-related activities, timely information is critical to allow people to make informed decisions. That advice from Mr. Adrian Trotman, Chief of Applied Meteorology and Climatology at the Caribbean Institute for Meteorology and Hydrology in Barbados. Mr. Trotman is on a brief visit to make a special presentation on governance of climate services delivery in Grenada.
What we also have to recognize is that when it comes to climate change, if we look at trends, one of the trends that we're pretty certain of is temperature. Okay? Straight away, what does that imply? Hotter days, hotter nights, right? More discomfort, more heat-related illnesses and inconveniences. And that alone, we recognize in the trend. And how do we work towards making sure that we can combat anything that could impact on human and the environment? And I gave you the example today of recognizing that the trends are there, and the upward trend in temperature has already been more or less illustrated. Then why wait?
This is the National Report. We'll have more news after the break.
The safety on our roads make this a major priority. Health of our people, a crucial necessity. Accidents happen when road users are either irresponsible or inconsiderate in one way or the other. Play your part. Reduce your speed. Be attentive. It is your personal responsibility. Let 2017 be the start of no more road fatalities. Be safe, be seen, be smart. So let's wise up as a nation, get to your destination safe.
Welcome back. The Ministry of Social Development says Grenada's juvenile rehabilitation system is successfully fulfilling its mandate in society. That's according to Permanent Secretary Veronica Charles during a press conference on Tuesday. The Ministry of Social Development is hosting a delegation from the Ministry of Social Justice in St. Lucia, which is on island, to adopt components of Grenada's SEED program and juvenile justice system in its quest to remodel its social services programs. PS Veronica Charles said since the establishment of the rehabilitation and treatment facility at Grand Bacolet in 2016, there has been many success stories.
It is only last month there was a training, a forum in Guyana, and one of our students who would have gone through the program at Bacolet, he represented Grenada in Guyana. And the feedback we had is that this child would have brought them to tears, the whole forum, because, you know, he was able to explain what he would have learned and how the system at Bacolet would have changed his life.
She spoke of the ministry's intention to seek an extension of residents' stay at the facility to allow them to complete programs. The extension will be outside of the court order and with the consent of the parents.
There are some children, because they came from dysfunctional families, they want to remain at the center. They do not want to go back home. Yeah, we've had, and we're working now with the authorities to see how we can create some sort of agreement that these children will be able to remain, if it's for a month or two, to finish their program, because you can't hold them beyond, you know, the time that the court would have given them to stay. But if we could have agreement with parents so they will be able to finish their education, finish whatever programs they are involved in at the center. And we've seen more and more of this happening.
And finally, the Grenada Cultural Foundation and Spice Mass Corporation has both endorsed one of the newest events on the 2019 Spice Mass calendar, dubbed I Am Mass. The official launch of I Am Mass took place on Wednesday at the Grenada National Stadium. Marcus Laverman James, well-known Grenadian soca artist for over 13 years, is the brand ambassador of I Am Mass, an event geared at revamping the Laverman brand and staging the first ever Laverman Fest on Saturday, July 6, 2019 at the Grenada National Stadium. I Am Mass seeks to incorporate several aspects of culture, including traditional mass, as a build-up to the events of the 2019 Spice Mass calendar. CEO of Spice Mass, Kelvin Jacobs, in endorsing the event, says his vision for harnessing the traditional mass and the efforts of stakeholders and promoters are key.
One of my visions for Spice Mass is the revitalization of the traditional mass, and also the partnerships with the various private promoters for Spice Mass. Because at the end of the day, when we look at the product that we want to create for Spice Mass, we cannot just look at the activities of Spice Mass Corporation. Because when we look at Carnival as a product, it is truly a partnership between the private promoters and the Spice Mass Corporation. And being my passion being a lot for the revitalization of our traditional mass, I really and truly endorse this initiative this morning here by the company to partnership and help us as Spice Mass to promote the traditional mass. So once again, I would like to thank you for the opportunity for having us here. Thank you for getting Spice Mass on board. Thank you for partnering with us, and thank you for helping us to push the traditional mass. And I truly, on behalf of Spice Mass, endorse this initiative.
Shoba Wells, CEO of the Grenada Cultural Foundation, is happy with the incorporation of the traditional mass, which is dying, and the overwhelming support of the Grenada Cultural Foundation.
I'm extremely pleased to see and hear an organization like this speaking about our traditional mass. Most times you hear promoters, artists, it's about fancy mass. Mass to the larger population of Grenada is about fancy mass. Today I'm witnessing some presence being given to our traditional mass. We all understand that we've been losing it. The Wild Indian is almost gone. We have been in dialogue with Mr. Wayne Green, And we're very pleased to endorse this product and support it to the fullest. We're not an organization with a lot of money, but we have a lot of capabilities, talents, negotiating skills, etc. And we're fully in support of moving this motion and ensuring that I Am Mass is a reality.
The creation of a website for the I Am Mass was conceptualized by Laverman, where patrons can access the I Am Mass page, events, music, merchandise of I Am Mass, and home-based brand sponsors, and a library of his career and accomplishments over the years. That story just ended the national report for today, Wednesday, February 13th. Recapping the top story. High-level IMF team commends Grenada for prudent fiscal management. On behalf of all those who made this newscast possible, I am Rikisha St. Louis saying thank you for joining us. Until next time.
You know, class, I keep asking myself, what the heck would you people do if you didn't have the GIS report to comment on, the national report? I keep asking myself. And there are a bunch of comments here. I did ask Mr. Bierzynski to join me a little bit early this morning, but I just can't let these comments on Facebook go by, so I'm going to intrude for just a minute on his precious time. First of all, Margaret says here, see, Oya is not just meat I like food, but it's all good. Yeah, Mags, I thought about you last night, and I knew you would enjoy that. Fitzroy Adams says he's watching from Carriacou and heading back to a cold Brooklyn. Good morning to you, Veronica Sandy, who is wishing us all, including Mr. Bierzynski, I would imagine, a happy Valentine's Day. Now, let's get to the GIS report. T.F. Richard says, whoa, isn't that great paper news from the IMF? But debt is down and death is up. Play on words, T.F. Play on words. Dennis Clark says, and I'm assuming that this person knows the insides of what we were listening to there a little while ago. Dennis Clark says, remember our GDP was rebased together with OECS members just before the NNP took office in 2013. In a fraction, the larger the denominator, the smaller the resulting quantity, which, in this case, is the national debt. So no doubt the success of the IMF program has been overrated. So says Dennis Clark. Now, okay, I skipped through some stuff here. On another part of the the GIS report caught Margaret's attention, and she's asking, what exactly does climate resilient mean? And she says she's asking for a friend. Don't lie, Margaret. You ain't asking for no friend. You're asking for yourself. Because you heard that there was a mispronunciation there, didn't you? Peter Bishop says, the IMF met with the PM and his family, eh? Yeah, okay. I Thank you for your comment, sir. And Margaret. Margaret was paying attention to the PSA that was run in that report a little while ago. She says, 2017, they need to update that PSA. Margaret, maybe a little mistake. I don't know. Maybe a little mistake. I don't know. T.F. Richards says, just as the Board of Tourism, what is the CMC doing on a whole to uplift the Carnival product? They're just endorsing another private person looking to make our money. What is being done to endorse our product? Sherma is talking. Why doesn't the GCF organize an old man's competition to revamp it? Just talk. Then Margaret, Mags, you're on a roll this morning, aren't you? Margaret picks another part of the GIS report. She says, Wild Indian? Seriously, Sherma? What made native people wild? I don't know, Margaret. Let's try and get it to go to Facebook and watch the piece. And then she also says, SMC needs to get its act together and stop the stereotype. Okay, folks, quick little break here, and then we're going to ask Mr. Bierzynski to join us right after this.
With free island-wide delivery, Hubbard's Building Supplies and Lumber Departments continue to provide the best quality lumber, steel, tiles, plumbing materials, electrical, and general hardware supplies at competitive prices. We continually consult with builders, homeowners, and contractors to improve product range and services. Enjoy discounts where applicable, including the use of credit and debit cards. At Hubbard's Building Supplies, Grandance, and Lumber Department, Caranage, we offer quality service, affordable prices, giving you the convenient, reliable, free island-wide delivery. Call 440-2087 for all your home improvement and building solutions.
Hey, Lynn.
Hey, neighbor.
Here's the bill I asked you to pay for me.
How did you get your electricity bill to be so low?
For one, we size our transformers just for what we need. And we unplug transformers, chargers, and other devices when they're not in use. We also replaced our light bulbs with LEDs.
They burn less energy, right?
Much less. I even replaced the seal on my refrigerator door to keep the cold air in.
And Grenlec is always advising us not to open the fridge too often.
That's right. And my family washes and irons in bulk.
With fuel prices changing all the time, how do you know if it is working?
We pay attention to the usage history table. Over time, our average usage has decreased.
So while Grenada can't control fuel prices, I can conserve energy and save money.
Grenlec, energizing our Grenada.
Juve chocolates, cocoa nibs, and cocoa balls from Diamond Estate Grenada are now available at Amazon.com, Amazon.ca, Amazon.co.uk, and GrenadaMarket.com. Try the sensational touch of nutmeg and a touch of ginger chocolates, 75% dark and rich, 100% pure cocoa, and their 60% dark and sweet chocolate bars today. Amazon Prime members enjoy free shipping on these orders in the USA, Canada, and Europe. GrenadaMarket.com. When you can't come to the island, the products of the island will come to you.
Okay, here I am, and true confession, I was not properly prepared there for Mr. Bierzynski, but let me pull him up right now. Let's see. Almost, but not quite ready, Mr. B. Hang in there. I'm gonna hold on a sec. I'm gonna get to you. Hang on a sec. Punch that, and then we punch this, and then we punch that. No, that didn't work. So hold on, Mr. B. Hold on. If at first you don't succeed, try and try again. I'm going to get him there as soon as I can. In the meantime, you'll have to enjoy a view of my ugly face. Hold on a sec here. Um, let's try again. Mr. B, Mr. B, Mr. B. Mr. B, why are you being so elusive this morning? Let me turn up his volume so that, Mr. B, are you hearing me?
Very well.
You're hearing me very well.
Loud and
Yeah,
clear.
but you're probably seeing a little too much of me, eh? Yeah, okay. Well, hold on a sec. Hold on a sec. We're going to try again. You know, old people have a saying, if at first you don't succeed, try and try again. And damn it, that's just what Georgie Porgy is going to do this morning. Uh-huh.
So this is a test transmission?
Yeah, man, this is a test transmission right in the middle of the program. Why not? Why not? The Grenada Broadcast. We experiment a lot here. And hold on. That one. And that. There we go. Hello,
Can you hear me
Mr.
now?
B. Good morning, sir. How are you?
Good morning and happy Valentine's Day to you and your viewers and listeners.
I told my listeners this morning I want to find out how a retired executive like Mr. B is going to be celebrating his Valentine's Day, if you don't mind, if it's not too...
Well, I will get to that because I have had the opportunity to listen not just to the GIS National Report, but also to the GBN News. But I'll start with you. If at first you don't succeed, try and try again is not something you want to suggest to somebody who is doing skydiving.
Okay. I did it. I've done it once, and it worked. So I don't have
Precisely.
to try it.
Precisely.
Okay.
No, I am not prone to participate in negativity, and I was listening to you earlier, and the comments that you've been reading suggest to me that people are not entirely happy about the current state of affairs. But I am necessarily a positive person in my outlook.
Okay.
So I've been reading between the lines. So, for example, when the IMF reports their satisfaction with the progress that has been made, and you see photographs of them smiling with the best finance minister in the region, or for the world as far as I know. I am prepared to take away the positive aspects of this, and I'm not going to pay excessive attention to those people who want to know why we still have poor and vulnerable, and why we have to have social programs, and why we have to be searching for funding to prepare for the next climate events so that we'll be climate resilient and all of that. Surely, and I've made the point before, if our citizenship by investment program is doing as well as has been reported, the National Transformation Fund is supposed to be awash with money. Now, when I say awash, I'm not suggesting that any sort of laundering has been involved, because I'm certain that the necessary due diligence has been put in place. But nevertheless, it seems passing strange to me that Ambassador Dr. Angus Friday and Senator the Honorable Simon Steele should be still looking for funding when they're promoting the rollout of this climate resilience and this smart city. And the truth is, I find the jargon overwhelming. So I find it refreshing when I listen to an honest politician, perhaps the only honest politician in Grenada, because the Honorable Delma Thomas was explaining certain recent developments in the SEED program. To tell you the truth, I haven't researched it, so I don't know what the SEED program is about, except that it seems to wish to address the needs of the poor and vulnerable. Now, she explained that they have computerized the process so that in the past, and I'm merely repeating what my comprehension was of her address which was on the news. It appears that in the past, individuals could have gone to their local constituency office or to a parliamentarian or to some official involved in the administration of the program and managed to get themselves onto the program to receive assistance when in fact they were not necessarily eligible for said assistance. No, this is an honest politician. She has described the essence of the corruption that she has presided over. And now she's prepared to put a stop to it because now the computer will do it. Now, this raises another issue, of course, because I grew up when we had no computers. And so when computers came along, I was one of the generation who was taught that what a computer does is to process raw data quicker than humans can.
Garbage in, garbage out.
There you go. So if the Honorable Minister expects that the computer is going to do the work and correct the corruption that she so aptly described, poor thing. She has to, as the saying goes, wheel and come again. Now, in the context of wheeling and coming again, we get into culture. I am appalled at the manner in which we seem to accept that convicted criminals should be allowed to perform in Grenada. We already have enough convicted criminals who are applying to practice law. Leave it at that. But why should Mr. Buju Banton, or whatever he is, a convicted criminal, be part of any show being promoted in Grenada? Let him stay in Jamaica or wherever. He may be welcome. But he should not be welcome in Grenada. People like that we don't need because they don't present a positive image. Having said that, on the question of image, I don't know how we can be promoting individuals who have charges pending against them for possession of a machine gun, not a revolver, you know, not an automatic pistol, and a machine gun. No, something is wrong. No, so let us move on now. And all of this is in the news. Let's get back to this question about the seed program, because I've learned something new. And this is when you were asking me about retirement. I have discovered that I am asset rich, but income poor. I have to admit that I had to listen about 3 times before I understood what it was that was being communicated or attempting to be communicated. But the reality is that there will be a lot of people my age who are asset rich and income poor, because when they retire, what they thought was a constitutionally guaranteed provision, and is now before the court, has to be negotiated, demonstrated for, argued against, while the people who have suddenly taken up strong positions regarding the inability of government to pay 25% advance payment on pension. You notice I will not say gratuity because this is the root cause of the problem, a simple English word. So, the 25% advance payment on pension, the government is unable to pay it, even though not all of the employees are retiring on the same date. And in the context of the IMF having just said, what a wonderful job we have done. I have never been able to understand government accounting. 2 years ago, I attended a presentation by the special advisor in the Ministry of Finance, who is on secondment from the CDB. And I asked some simple questions. And the simple answers I got essentially indicated that government accounting is different to the accounting that I know. So the government accounting records their receipts, it records their payments, and let's forget about the liabilities. Let's forget who we didn't pay. Let's forget who owes us. I mean, this is a simplification, but this is my understanding of it. So this is why when they do their half-year report, they are able to repeatedly report these massive surpluses. No, I shouldn't say massive. To report surpluses. And then 3 months later, you see they go to Parliament for a supplementary appropriations bill to legitimize the expenditure that they undertook, which had not been previously approved. It really is farcical. It reminds me of what is going on now in Trinidad with our representatives. I believe we have 5 artists from Grenada who have gone through to the final. Notice I said final because there's only one of this international soca monarch competition. Now, much laughter has emanated from the fact that the Trinis are complaining about these Grenadians, but the Trinis are the ones who made it international soca monarch competition. But there's one particular artist, and his song urges people to pick up something and run with it. I remember some years ago when our ambassador Tal Pri had something about trees in the West Indies. And from Vandom down through River Road, when people came down to show, every peace tree, country, bush, whatever it is, was rooted up. The place was denuded. These are people who could be employed as debushers. Just play the music for them. Trees in the West Indies. So now we have a reprise of this, except this time it is pick up something and run with it. And a senior police officer in Trinidad has come on the news to caution revelers that while they may enjoy the tune, leave the message where it is. Because one corn soup vendor had his apparatus removed from him. And as the cop said, if it hadn't been returned, then this would have been theft of property. Apparently, another gentleman was attending a function with his girlfriend when she was removed from his presence. And the cop said, well, if she had not been returned safely, then those responsible could have been charged with kidnapping. The mere fact that she was picked up and ran away with constitutes assault on the person. But the best part of it was, apparently, a caller inquired of the cop whether he knew a woman by the name of, let's say, Ruby. I can't confirm that it was Ruby. But nevertheless, the cop appeared to be taken aback and was flustered by the question. Whereupon the caller attempted to assist him by saying, Ruby is my wife, and stop interfering with my wife. Leave her alone. Don't pick her up and run with her kid. So it just goes to show, when you are involved in the culture, leave the culture one side before you go on TV, before somebody knows what you're picking up and what you run away with. Yeah. A word to the wise.
You're done. You're done?
Yes.
Mr. B, you make it awfully difficult for me to sit here with a straight face on a Thursday morning. Very difficult. And obviously not just me, because while I'm listening to you here and trying to stifle my laughter, there are people out there on Facebook who are posting some comments. I don't know if you're monitoring Facebook, but I'm going to share. I'm going to share some of the stuff with you. Peter Bishop says, "I love the way Allan plays with words." Donna Joseph says, "Mr. B, I could give you the biggest hug and shake hand on this point that the honest lady spoke about, because the computer would only put out what is entered in the system." That's part of what Donna says. Donna also says, "Ha ha ha. Thanks for the laughter, Mr. B, and your idea. It's a brilliant one. Maybe the Ministry of Work should take your idea of invigorating the debushers with that sun." Huh? She also says here, "Mister, you have just made my Wednesday morning." Then
Thursday.
Donna, it's Donna, it's Thursday morning, Donna. Please. All right, let me get to the others. George, T.F. Richard says, "George, just a quick question for Mr. B. From a business point of view, what's the possible backlash with the implementation of the ban on single-use plastic bags? Are the prescribed bags placed under the zero VAT commodities so as to save the final costing to the consumer?"
It's been a while, but when I left, the tax structure was not favorable. I don't know if changes have been made. I rather doubt it.
Okay. Peter Bishop says, "Allan is a classic." Ryan says, "Good day, but AB got an increase there." Allan, you not Allan, Ryan. I'm sorry, you're gonna have to try that one again. Donna says, "Thanks, George. I'm laughing so much I actually forgot the days of the week." Yeah, right. Yeah, right. That's an easy cop-out. Okay, I think that's it there for... oh, hold on a sec. Margaret Francis says, "All another farce to line their pockets. But I got good news for them. Donors are fed up and demanding accountability." Dennis Clark says, "Money!" It's commenting. Oh, by the way, Donna says that you are her favorite guest on the program. You know what you're talking about? You're fueling this guy, Donna. Please. I mean, I'm sitting here trying to keep a straight face as this man talks about serious issues, and you're talking about favorite. Hey, AB, obviously there are people out there who didn't know that you have retired. Sharon says here, Sharon Elizabeth Roberts says, "Retired? Mr. B retired? What will Hubbards do?" Apparently she didn't know you were retired.
Which means that the succession plan has been extremely effective and seamless.
Ah, that's one way of looking at it, sir. That's one, and I'm glad because...
Well, since I was intimately involved in it, I am pleased that it has worked so well so far.
There you go. Another plus to look at. It gives you the time to mess around here with me on a Thursday morning, doesn't it? Huh?
Yeah, Thursdays.
That was deliberate, Allan. That was deliberate. Amy, thank you very much, sir. Thank you very much. We're going to take a little break now. I certainly hope you do have a good weekend. By the way, did you enjoy your independence and all of that?
Yes, I was with a couple of older friends up at Belmont Estate.
Oh, okay.
Far from the madding crowd.
Far from the what crowd?
far from the madding crowd.
Whatever happened to the maddening crowd?
No, 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 no. Google it. Far from the madding crowd.
Far from the madding crowd.
Google it.
Okay, we'll go Google it. AB, thank you, sir. Thank you very much, sir. I look forward to seeing you next week. You have a great weekend.
Okay, bye now.
Take it easy. Allan Bierzynski there. Yeah. Well, you know, it's hard to follow that. I just look forward to my Thursday mornings here. And like I said, hard to follow that. But I'll tell you what. Let's become a little bit more sober now. Because I've got something that I'd like to play for you from Anthony DeRiggs. It's captioned, God bless you. But when you listen to it, you will often hear the phrase, I have lived long enough. Huh? As you listen to this, ponder what Anthony is actually saying. Before that, though, I am going to take a little break, and we'll come back. Good morning, Kipling. Good to see you, fella. Thanks for joining us. And folks, you know, you never know what to expect on this program. We laugh, we cry. We're thankful we have life. I want you to listen to this piece from Anthony DeRiggs. Check it out.
I have lived and have seen life. So take it from me, as we used to say in Grenada. I have lived long enough to understand that tomorrow is not promised to anyone. That is why the ancestors always said, tomorrow God willing, or tomorrow please God, because we do not know. It is true. The joy of today that you experience can swiftly turn to sorrow. Sorrow that can rush in as an unwelcome surprise. We do not always see it coming. It pays to expect the unexpected. I have lived long enough to know that the dog that deserves the bone does not always get it in this life. For favoritism and payback often play a big role in decision making. Consequently, the weak and the defenseless often fall victim to those who sit on the high seat called power. I have lived long enough to realize that material gain is a blessing, great blessing, wonderful to have, but it is blessed to share. For what we have, we can only enjoy for the brief span we have it. For eventually, we will all leave this earth with empty hands. And we do not know if those who come after us would even appreciate the fruit of our labor. It is wonderful to have. It is blessed to share, I repeat. I have never seen a U-Haul truck following a funeral, bearing one's earthly possession. Never. I have lived long enough to observe people obtain wealth and they rise to prominence. Then they turn their backs on those they knew before the wealth and the fame. But you know, sometimes misfortune knocks people to the ground, and then they cling once more to those they had left behind. Pay attention. A stroke, a sudden stroke, can change one's fortune and the way people treat you. I have lived long enough to realize that money attracts friends. They come like bees to honey, and many will stick close to you when there is material gain. Money talks, BS walks, but when misfortune and money dwindles, well, so-called friends, they disappear. They dwindle too. And some might even pretend that they never knew you. I have lived long enough to see the wrath called retribution descend like big stones on the heads of those who embrace evil. And people remark, the whole African term, Jumbi on them, or they have light. But it is only their wicked deeds catching up with them. For it is a truism, we reap what we sow. I have lived long enough to know that faith in God is essential. For without faith, one cannot face the future with confidence, especially in these unpredictable times. And one must not only talk the faith, but live it I have lived long enough to appreciate the goodwill of family and friends. Cling close to your family. Stay close to good and trusted friends. They are jewels. And I have been pleasantly warmed by the compassion that flows from loving hearts, even hearts that I did not expect to be so loving. I have lived long enough to know that it's better to count our blessings than to keep dwelling on the sorrows that we face. And the past is gone, we cannot bring it back. And the more I see the folly of worrying, so instead of worrying today, just breathe a little prayer and see the blessings unfold. I have lived long enough to witness the games people play and the way they use others to achieve their goals, and then they cast them away when they no longer need them, when it is time to find others to use. I have lived long enough to value every day I open my eyes, and take this from a man who once lay on a hospital bed and did not know if he would see the following day. So every time I smell a rose and observe the mountain greenery, every time I observe the mountain greenery, or behold the captivating beauty of a sunset, I pause to thank my Creator for sparing my life. I have lived long enough to value the importance of the words that were popular on the lips of Grenadians and other people years ago. God bless. So I say to you, God bless. Anthony Wendell DeRiggs.
You know, folks, one of the things I really enjoy about this program is that it gives me the opportunity to be lighthearted, to be deep, serious. A lot of you say that not only are you informed, but you're also entertained. Yeah? And I think one of the things I really want the Grenadian people to know is that there is life after politics. Yeah? Yeah. So many people just concentrate on partisan politics. Yeah. Leave that to the rest of them. By the way, for those of you who may be interested, at right about now, actually I've been invited to attend this, but I can't because I'm here with you. The government of Grenada is supposed to be holding a press conference at about now with the IMF. And I think you should be able to see that on the government website, which is govgd, gov.gd, after you're through with us here, okay? So hang in there for just a minute longer, and then you can go on over to gov.gd. We're going to pull the curtain down this morning with an inspirational reading. Again, I hope this provides you with a little hope, a little encouragement. Comes to you from the book of Luke, Luke chapter 6, verses 20 to 26. Looking at his disciples, he said, "Blessed are you who are poor, for yours is the kingdom of God. Blessed are you who hunger now, for you will be satisfied. Blessed are you who weep now, for you will laugh. Blessed are you when people hate you, when they exclude you and insult you and reject your name as evil because of the Son of Man. Rejoice in that day and leap for joy, because great is your reward in heaven. For that is how they treated their ancestors, the prophets. But woe to you who are rich, for you have already received your comfort. Woe to you who are well fed now, for you will go hungry. Woe to you who laugh now, for you will mourn and weep. Woe to you when everyone speaks well of you, for that is how their ancestors treated the false prophets. Luke chapter 6, verses 20 to 26. On that note, I'm going to pull the plug and say thank you so much for joining me this morning. I certainly hope it was a good program for you. It was worth your time. Hold on. Lawrence Kruthoff says, "Hi, George. Good morning. I'm now back in Granbra, St. Andrew. Back a yard. Well, welcome back. Granbra, I lived in that proximity. That's where I grew up, on the way up to DeRiggs. Huh? One of these days, Lawrence, I look forward to meeting you. Thanks for chiming in. Folks, Georgie Porgy sends God's blessings your way by his grace. Let's get together again tomorrow morning."